dears. Today we are going to talk about the unit tourism. So it means that we will talk about tourism types. And when you look at that reading passage, we have in there 6 different characters: Judy, Betty, David, Albert, Cindy, and Joan. These friends are talking about their holiday types, and then they are talking their preferences, and also they give some personal opinions, dears. So let's look at in there and then read conversation. And also we have 6 different, as you see, pictures related to their talking. And when we finish the reading Judy's, and then we will try to choose. Judy is talking about what picture? So at the same time, while we are reading this passage, I will underline some of the important parts that gives some information about personal opinion and also preferences. First, Judy says that I prefer visiting historical sites because, to me, they are more interesting than modern architecture. I will underline I prefer visiting and to me this. I prefer visiting historical sites. Historical site. When I look at there, what picture is about historical site? 5, you see, there is a castle, so that's why I'm going to write there Judy. They're more interesting than modern architecture. What is modern architecture? For example, when you look at the picture of the third, this is a kind of modern architecture. This. So let's get with Betty. I'm moving with Betty. I will rather do extreme sports like hang gliding, scuba diving, or climbing a mountain. In my opinion, an adventure holiday is more challenging. In here, again, Betty's preferences, I would rather do extreme sports. Then he gives his opinion about in my opinion. So when she decides to talk their opinion, she uses in my opinion, like to me. It's very similar. So to me, in my opinion, okay? Which one, when you look at, I would rather do extreme sports. When we look at these pictures, which one is the extreme sport? Extreme sport, the first one. So it is Betty. Okay, let's move with David. David, I prefer having a cruise holiday. To me, traveling on a ship and visiting islands are more entertaining. David, I prefer having, and as a personal opinion, he uses to me, dears. Okay, I prefer a cruise holiday. Cruise holiday. Cruise, it must be like a ship, a big ship on the sea. This is, dears, number 6. David. Okay, Albert. I would rather visit modern buildings because historic sites are more boring than modern buildings for me. Albert uses I would rather visit, and as a personal opinion, he uses for me. Cindy, Albert uses would rather and then visit modern buildings, and so let's look for which one is about Albert's idea. The modern building 3 years. So we are going to write there Albert. Okay. What about Cindy? Cindy prefers spending my holiday on a beach. I think swimming in the sea, sunbathing on the beach, and staying at an all-inclusive hotel are more relaxing. So, as a personal opinion, Cindy uses prefer. As a preferences, Cindy uses prefer spending on my holiday on a beach, and as a personal opinion, she is using I think. Okay. Joan, I would rather camp in a forest on my holiday. I would rather camp in a forest on my holiday. Preferences, Joan uses would rather. As a personal opinion, because the things you need are only a tent, a sleeping bag, and some food. To me, you see, as a personal opinion, Joan uses to me, but Cindy uses I think. To me, being in a nature is better than in a big city. Camp on a forest. Camp, when you look at the picture 2, you see this is about Joan preference. And when we look at the Cindy again, she likes spending holiday on a beach. So the picture 4 is about Cindy. So my dear students, as you see in this reading passage, I underlined 2 important things. The first one, personal opinion, like to me, I think, to me, for me, or preferences. I prefer, I would rather, I prefer, I would rather, I prefer, and I would rather. So it means that there are 2 types of preferences. The first one, prefer, and then the second one, would rather. But we need to know that what are the differences between prefer and would rather. I have prepared a sheet for you guys. In this sheet, we will look and study on the differences between prefer and would rather. Both of them are about the preferences, but if you choose prefer, you need to use 2 options, noun to noun or verb to verb. Noun to noun, what does it mean? I prefer historic sites to the seaside. I prefer historic sites. Underline it. There is no verb in there, just historic sites. So this is just about a noun. So you prefer historic sites to seaside. So you see, this is noun and this is also a noun. In there, I prefer historic sites to seaside. Now I prefer noun to noun. But the second option, she prefers visiting museums to hanging out with friends. In there, you can prefer verb to verb. Verb to verb. But when you decided to make a sentence about verb to verb, you need to remember that ing, dears. You see? So we have to add ing at the end of the verbs. She prefers visiting, you see, museums to hanging out. Ing again. If we are talking about noun to noun, just write your noun and noun. But if you are talking about verb to verb, you don't forget adding ing, guys. Okay, so let's look at the would rather. In would rather, you have just one option. It is just verb and verb. There is no noun to noun. So when we look at deeper mode, there is only one difference between prefer and would rather. In prefer, noun to noun and verb to verb, but in would rather, you have to use just verb to verb. There is no noun to noun in would rather, guys. I would rather go to the beach than stay in a hotel. So I would rather go, you see, I would rather go to the beach than stay in a hotel. There is no ing, you see. But if you use these verbs with prefer, you have to add ing. That is the difference, guys, between prefer and would rather. Okay, and I think that's good, but there is another thing. After we finish the preferences, we need to talk about personal opinions. There is another chart in here. In this worksheet, I prepared you some of the types of personal opinion. The first, what is personal opinion? Personal opinion is a thing that we use when we express our personal opinions. We use these following expressions. In there are 6 different types of expressions. Like what? I think, in my opinion, to me, I guess, I believe, and I suppose. Actually, these 6 types of different expressions are very similar. I mean, especially, I think, in my opinion, and to me. These 3 expressions are very similar, but when we look at the 4, 5, and 6, I mean, I guess, I believe, and I suppose, I offer you to look their dictionaries. What does it mean? Guess, believe, and suppose. After you learn the meanings of guess, believe, and suppose, you will understand better the use of these expressions, guys. Okay? Give me an example. For example, I guess it is not clear and I'm not sure, but I just guess the turkey will pass these black days, guys. And I believe, I'm very sure and I believe you can pass this exam because you are studying hard and hard for days. And I suppose, I'm not sure, but I want to say my opinion. I suppose tomorrow will be rainy, but I'm not sure, I just suppose. Okay, maybe thanks to these examples, you can understand the meanings of guess, believe, and suppose. So in a sum up, I mean, we studied preferences and then personal opinions. So let's start a different activity. Again, our book, course material. Okay. In this activity, we will decide preferences and also personal opinions. There are 2 options in the sentences and then we will choose which one is okay. Okay. We prefer have or having a holiday. What type of holiday? Adventure holiday. So if we use prefer, we have to choose ing. So that's why the correct option is having this. We prefer having an adventure holiday. That's it. When we look at the second, which one do you prefer? A camping holiday or a cultural holiday? I prefer or I would rather a cultural holiday. When I look at there is no verb. You see, this is just a noun, a cultural holiday. There is no verb. So that's why I can use prefer. Because when we decide a prefer, we can use noun to noun or verb to verb. Then, I agree or to me, a cultural holiday is worse or better than camping holiday. To me is a type of personal opinion, like I think, like in my opinion. To me, a cultural holiday is better than camping holiday. Let's look at the 3. I prefer or I would rather have a vacation at the beach. Wow. You see, there is a verb, have a vacation. But when you look at there is no ing. You see, it's not like having. So if there is no ing, I have to use would rather, dears. Because the difference between would rather and prefer, just an ing. If you use prefer, you have to add ing. But if you use would rather, you don't have to add ing. That's it. Okay, it's very easy. 4. Sude prefers or would rather spending her holiday in a rural area to or than an urban area. Rural area and urban area. Okay. Sue, spending her holiday. Again, there's a verb, but when you look at there is an ing. So if there is an ing, we have to choose would rather prefers, prefer, dears. Sude prefers spending her holiday in a rural area. And also if you use prefer, you have to use to, guys. Okay? Then the last one. Steve, what do you think about safari? I believe or I agree. It's fascinating and entertaining. Dears, in here, which one is about a personal opinion? I believe or I agree? I think I believe. So that's why we underlined I believe. Okay, I think you got it, and that's a good activity. And when I turn to the other page, there is another activity. And so, talking about our preferences, write your preferences and give your reasons by using some of the prompts. And this part is about our preferences and also personal opinions, guys. Just I'm going to explain just 2 of them, okay, in order not to take your time. So I want you to look at carefully at the second option, a beach holiday and adventure holiday. There are 2 types holiday, but we should prefer one of them, and then we will explain what is its reason. You see? So while we are making a sentence about these different type of holidays, we have to use would rather. Okay, so I would rather go or have, it's up to you, because if you use would rather, you have to use a verb. I would rather have beach holiday than adventure holiday. To me, this is a personal idea, this is a personal opinion. To me, it is more fascinating, this. You see? Okay. So, when you look at the 3, winter holiday and summer holiday, these are also different types of holidays, but we use prefer, believe, and amazing. So, prefer. If we use prefer, we can make it as a noun or verb to verb. And we will do both two options. I prefer winter holiday to summer holiday. I believe it is amazing. This can be a first option. And if I'm going to do it with a verb, I prefer going winter holiday to going summer holiday. I believe it is amazing. That's it. Okay. Thank you, guys.